Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Into the Hive Mind. This is day 2 of the LVTT. So, if you guys have not watched day 1, please go and look at the link down below. Click on day 1, as that will explain my army and how I did during day 1. That way, you guys can avoid any spoilers. Anyways, as you can see, here's my list. We're deploying on the line with Assimilation Swarm Tyranids. If that doesn't pique your interest, I'm not the guy to watch. I'm sorry. No, I love playing this army. I think it's super fun. You deploy on the line and you thematically shove a ton of Tyranid biomass into your opponent's face, and you hope you survive. So that's what I'm playing, and we have fights first on our Hive Tyrant over here with his 6 Tyrant Guard. We also have Swarm Lord accompanied by 6 Tyrant Guard. We got 1, 2, 3 Haruspecs, 1, 2, 3 Psychophage, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. So 2x3 Pyrovores. We got a Biovore sitting on our home, and tucked in nice and safe are our 3 Venomthropes. We are playing against Grizzled Company Guard, so this is going to be a very important Venomthrope thing to get that stealth and cover. The Guard is playing triple Lehman Russ Vanquisher, so this is the giant anti-tank gun. Single shot, this is basically a rupture cannon from a Tyrannofex, but with a built-in hit, wound, and damage reroll, but only 1 shot. And 145 points instead of 200. Then we have a Hellhound here to strip cover, does the same thing our Pyrovores do. And 2 units of 6 Bulgrin. Of course, we're Grizzled Company, so 2 units of 6 Bulgrin with the Commissar giving them orders. Where is that second unit right now? Are they in reserve? I don't remember. Sorry, I apologize for that. But we have 2 Chimeras, very cool Chimera conversion over here with the actual dudes inside. We got Lord Solar chilling with the command squad, giving out orders to everyone, and a Rogaldorn accompanying all of these Lehman Russes. Double Catachan up here that's scouting forward. And we are playing against Ricky, round 4. Let's see, we are playing against... One sec. Ricky as part of the Las Vegas Mind Goblins. And I apologize, I'm so used to seeing 2x6 of these Bulgrin. Ricky's only playing 1x6, and he has the Commissar attached as part of the squad. And he just has a bunch of extra chaff with the Death Core of Krieg in here and the Catachans here. So we are playing on Terraform with the Diagonal Deployment Crucible of Battle. And as you can see, Ricky got first turn. So I apologize. This is what our actual deployment was. Lord Solar gives, I believe, redeploy of 3 units. And here is the end of Ricky's turn 1. After he drew Assassinate and Area Denial, he tossed Assassinate for a CP and drew Cull the Horde, which he can't get, so he tossed that, and drew Engage on All Fronts. So we do have a scouting forward Chimera over here that is able to get Engage, but he's probably not getting Engage down here, as that is, where I'm at. But Area Denial, nice and easy. Hellhound just drives up to the center, and then he proceeds to unload. Let's see if we can get... Yeah. So we have this tank can go and see this Haruspex. I believe he shoots the Hellhound at it first to strip cover, and then he fires this Vanquisher and just pops this Exocrine right off the bat. So very strong start. Next thing that happens is this Vanquisher shoots and pops this Exocrine. So yay, even stronger start. I wish our Rupture Cannons did anything like that. Rerolling hit, wound, and damage, even with only 1 shot, makes that infinitely more reliable. Then you have this Vanquisher shot at this Psychophage, and I believe put it down to like 2 wounds for the Rogaldorn to finish it off. And then the Neurolictor here took a bunch of damage, I believe, from shooting from these guys, and maybe even this Vanquisher. He might have measured from the barrel of the gun. I don't know if that's correct or not. I don't play vehicles, but This Neurolictor was down to 2 wounds at the end of all the shooting that could shoot him, even though he has lone up. And both of these exocrines and this psychophage were obliterated right off the bat, top of 1 before I got a turn. So that's a very strong start. Nobody on the team wanted this guard matchup other than our Tau player, and I think he already took a different tank list. So yeah, I got guard on a very open table, as you can see. That is kind of what my list was hoping to do, was just blunt what we expected to be a giant gun line on an open table. And so that's what we're doing. We're taking it right on the chin. We're losing bugs left and right. But after Ricky manages to kill off both of these Haruspex and this Psychophage, he does elect to go for this, I think, 9-inch charge, because I believe I was just outside of grenade range. Goes after this 9-inch charge into the Neurolictor, and he makes it, I think, actually rolling an 11 or a 12. And because all of these guys are dead, I'm able to heroically intervene with Swarmlord, because I got these guys right here. So I heroically intervene, and he does not kill the Neurolictor. He brings it down to 2, and Swarmlord thankfully gets to slingshot, get a little bit of extra movement, and manage to kill off that squad there. But as you can see, 2 Haruspexes and a Psychophage down before I've even actually had a turn. That's going to be rough, but we'll see if we can come back. So this is the end of my turn 1, where I drew Engage and Cleanse. I'm not going to be doing any of that, as Ricky has a bunch of guys here. He's got the tank up here, so I do have a Psychophage, but I think I need to focus on killing this and the guys inside. I'm coming forward to try and kill this Hellhound in the center, and Swarmlord with his boys do move up, hoping to get into this tank, while the Psychophage and Neurolictor come after the 10 Catachans over here, and bringing a Lictor just for support. So filing up here, trying to get Engage. Unfortunately, I do not have room for a Spore Mine back here. This is, again, like a 20-man command squad attached to Lord Solar, so this does stretch all the way back out. And I think the Biovore's range extended to like here. It covers almost the whole table, but it didn't quite get this back corner, which was not fully screened out, but I just didn't have the range. So I don't think I was able to get Engage in this corner. But as long as any of these make a charge over here, I'm going to have this corner as well as these 2 for a 2-point Engage. And at the end of my turn 1, as you can see, I actually made pretty much all my charges. So Neurolictor makes it in. I do believe there's like 3 or 4 guys left. The Psychophage, I don't think made the charge. Or I guess he did, because he got forward. Yeah, okay. But I do actually think Ricky does have a couple guys left over here. I do actually manage to make this charge, and Swarmlord does kill the tank. I did flame it with the Psychophage to make him AP3. That makes it much easier to kill Dorns, it turns out, having an AP3 Swarmlord. However, over here, I charged into the Hellhound, and I don't know if this was a mistake, but I did not know Hellhounds had 2-up armor save anymore. I've been playing against them since 5th edition, and they've always had a 3-up and like super explode. But I guess now they have a 2-up save. So anyways, they had a 2-up save and Ricky Armor of Contempted, which is, I'm going to just say a mistake. You cannot Armor of Contempt in combat. It is shooting only. I didn't know that at the time. I know that now. But yeah, so he was saving on 3s against my Hive Tyrant, and that meant I did nothing. Like, I think I did 3 damage to this, which is unfortunate. So he is able to just fall back. And then over here, I did manage to have the Harspecs kill the transport and pile into the dudes inside. But I did not kill the guys. So he is going to actually out OC me here, because this is a bunch of OC2 Catachans, or no, Death Company up there. And he does have his Bulgrin with the Commissar about ready to come and fight. Although, keep in mind, this unit has fights first because of these Pyrovores. So he probably doesn't want to go this way. And then I did actually pile into the Rogel Dorn just to make it where he can't shoot Swarmlord with his blast weapons. And yeah, honestly, compared to what he did to me turn 1, this was actually still a very decent turn. However, secondary wise, I did only score 2 points on Engage, and I did not get anything for Cleanse. Going into Ricky's turn 2, Let's see, did we? No? All right, we're just skipping right to the end of Ricky's turn 2, I guess. So this is the end of my turn 1, and this is the end of Ricky's turn 2. So as you can see, the Hellhound fell back from the Hive Tyrant, trying to block me from getting into the other Dorn. Over here, the Neurolictor was shot and killed by some Deathcore. And yeah, Tempestus Scion squad with the Tempestus Command squad deep struck in, and they shot and killed all the Tyrant Guard from Swarmlord. So that was unbelievable. But so he has the enhancement for double orders. So he gave himself rapid fire, an extra shot on his rapid fire guns, and he gave himself +1 to hit. So he's hitting on 2s, rerolling 1s, except I was in combat, so it goes back to 3s, rerolling 1s. And then he's wounding on 5s, rerolling 1s, not everything, because I was not on the objective. That was very intentional. So as you can see, I intentionally piled forward off of the objective, leaving just the Neurolictor and Psychophage on. So I'm in combat, and yeah, he just deep strikes his squad right here, just outside of Vect range. So he's within 12 of this front Tyrant Guard, but he's outside of Vect range from the Swarmlord. And yeah, this one squad manages to kill off all 6 Tyrant Guard, which unfortunately, as you can see here, Swarmlord is not actually in combat with this Dorn. It is the Tyrant Guard that were in combat with the Dorn. So when they deep strike in and they shoot and kill all the Tyrant Guard, hitting on 3s, rerolling 1s, wounding on 5s, rerolling 1s, with 4 plasma guns, that is apparently enough to, kill off all the Tyrant Guard. So unfortunately, what that meant is they killed off all the Tyrant Guard, and Swarmlord was standing there, no longer in combat, and this Dorn was also no longer in combat. However, I did pop Shadow, and he did fail Battle Shock. So as you can see, Battle Shock, Battle Shock, Battle Shock. All 3 of these tanks do not have the +1 to hit. Battle Shock over here. So I took away all of their orders. So his tanks are not rerolling 1s to hit or wound. They're not rerolling, or they're not +1 to hit from the take aim. My Shadow in the Warp super popped off because Swarmlord made all of this -1, and that means he's leadership 8. But yeah, didn't matter. He's hitting me on 5s with just his single built-in commander reroll, and just punks Swarmlord right in front of him because, again, no longer in combat thanks to the Scions. So that was really bad. And again, lost the Neurolictor down here, also kind of bad. And the Bulgrin did elect to, instead of going after the fights first, went up top and did one-shot my Haruspex through a 5-up Feel No Pain. Sure. Statistically, that is definitely not supposed to happen. I mean, he is hitting me on 2s, rerolling 1s. I don't think those guys got Battle Shocked. I don't see a token. So he's hitting me on 2s, rerolling 1s, wounding me on 5s, rerolling 1s. And then I have a 4-up save and a 5-up Feel No Pain. Every one that goes through is 2 damage, but so I think that's 24 attacks, should be 24 hits, or 23. But then that turns into 8 wounds, maybe 9 with the reroll 1s. We'll even be nice and say 10, and then 5 go through for 10 damage, and then 5-up Feel No Pain, and I take 6. No, instead I just took 14 and just got 1 shot. So it happens. But that was kind of ridiculous. They came in and, just one-shot the Haruspex. So also very bad over there. And, sorry, let me take a look at what his secondaries were. So he did score an 8 on primary because he held up here as well as his home. And he drew behind enemy lines and extend. As you can see, he's not getting a behind, as this is my deployment zone here. But he does have a full extend, taking his home and that expansion objective again. This is the end of his turn 2. Jumping into my turn 2, I do manage to finally kill the Hellhound and pile into the Leman Russ here in the center. And as you can see, I brought back a lot of my Tyrant Guard. So I ended up with 3 at the end of his turn. I bring 1 back, and then I did actually get a Spore Mine in there to manage to make a charge and spend the strat from the Psychophage and get another one. Or no, I think I just brought it back when I killed the Hellhound. That's right. I ate a Hellhound and made it into a Tyrant Guard. Over here, Psychophage is fighting off these Kriegsmen that killed the Neurolictor. And I am going all in on combat into the Bulgrin. I did not battle shock them once again. I tried with the Neurolictor. These guys just don't want to fail. Although the Neurolictor did go in and precision out the Commissar. So they are no longer going to be receiving orders, and that, is pretty cool. And also gained me a CP because I didn't gain one from Swarmlord since he died. So that was actually really nice that I was able to precision out the Commissar. And yeah, now we have Psychophage, Neurolictor just fighting Bulgrin. And I pile into the tank here. But that was my opportunity, though, because everything was battle shocked. Going into this next turn, he gets to hit me at full power again. And as you can see, this Tempester squad that completely annihilated Swarmlord is now in prime condition to just move forward and do the exact same thing to my other Hive Tyrant. But secondary-wise, I had Display of Might and Established Locus. I think I established with these Pyrovores in the center. Nope, I just elected to hold on to it. I think I needed to strip cover from something. They decided to shoot. But I did get a Display of Might, which was pretty nice. I've got Rippers. I have a ton of stuff in the center. I got a Spore Mine over here. So I do get Display of Might, as he is also very much in his deployment zone, for 4 points. And I also, I did score 8 primary, holding my home and the center. So going into Ricky's turn 3, he does get an 8, holding his home and actually his expansion because of these Deathcore guys. They were out OCing the Psychophage. And as you can see here, let's see, are we just once again jumping straight to the end of his turn? I think we are. Wow, no, I think we're jumping even further than that. That looks like the end of my turn. Neurolictor up here is dead. Psychophage fell back so I could flame him with Pyrovores. Over here on this end, I did manage to kill this other Dorn, but I have lost off all of my Tyrant Guard. And then basically what happens is my Hive Tyrant moves forward over here to charge and just tie up this Scion squad and stop them from shooting again, because he does not have a fallback and shoot strat or a shoot and combat strat. So I know I'm just probably going to get point blanked by this Vanquisher who can still shoot me in combat, or this Dorn with, the non-blast weapons, but I'm just going for the best shot I have. However, as I move over here, he overwatches me initially with the Scion squad. And then he's like, well, I'm hitting on 6s, wounding on 5s. You know what? I'm just going to overwatch you with the Vanquisher. And I was like, yeah, you're just hoping for the big gun. And he's like, yeah, I guess, hoping I'm going to roll a 6. Rolls it, 6. First thing. So gets the hit with the Vanquisher in Overwatch, gets the wound, but thankfully I pass my invuln. And then he rolls his 2 multi-meltas and rolls double 6. I fail and then wounds with both on 5s. I fail both saves, use my free strat to CP reroll and make one of them. He rolls a 3 on damage to do 5 damage to me because I am obviously within Melta range. And then thankfully the las cannon misses. But still ridiculous that he hit with 3 of his 4 guns in Overwatch. But I did live, and I was able to tie up this, or at least charge the squad. And I think I killed 6 guardsmen, which are, just the basic boys in this squad. But I was able to tag them. And then my Pyrovores over here, I don't even know if they actually... they went for Established Locus, because I held on to it, and they just walked forward and did Established Locus in my opponent's deployment zone for 4 points. So that seems not bad. My other secondary was Defend, so that's cooking. I'm going to get that. I don't think he has any way to interact with this, as this was his 1 Deep Strike squad. There's nobody in this transport. They're over here. Transport is now in combat with the Psychophage. This Ripper actually charges in and ties these guys up and lives on 1, I believe, to prevent them from doing anything next turn. And yeah, like I said, Psychophage fell back so I could flame the Bulgrin with Pyrovores, and I killed 1 whole Bulgrin. We're doing great. But that leaves it where at the end of turn 3, just to give you guys an idea, Ricky has 16 primary to my 21, because I actually did get, I held my home, the center, and I think up here finally, because he could no longer give orders to the Bulgrin. He only had 2 OC on the objective to my Psychophage's 3. So I'm ahead by 5 on primary. And then in terms of secondary, at the end of turn 3, Ricky has 13 to my 10. So currently I am winning by 2 at the end of this turn 3. So very close game. But let's go into Ricky's turn 4, where he does hold his home and his expansion objective for another 8 primary points, and his secondaries that he draws are Cleanse and Display of Might. Keep in mind that I had just done Display of Might on my turn, so very difficult for him to do because I have a whole bunch of just random stuff out here, and again, he's mostly fighting in his deployment zone, so he only has these 3 units out here, as opposed to my, like, 6. So he does not get Display of Might, and Cleansing is not something he could do because, again, these guys are in combat. This actually still looks... Oh, this is just me making that charge into these guys and fighting over here. That's all this photo is. So here we go now into Ricky's turn 4, where these guys, as you can see, are in combat, so they can't cleanse, even though they do hold this objective. The Dorn decides to move on to the center objective and take it from me because these Venom Thropes were actually beginning to... They actually came over and terraformed it. And yeah, I think these Bulgrin are going to charge into these Pyrovores, I believe. And are probably about to get overwatched. He does fall back with the Tempestus squad from the Hive Tyrant and then just lights up the Hive Tyrant. And let's see. Yeah. So this is the end of his turn. Actually, this is the end of my turn again. But Hive Tyrant is dead. Pyrovores are dead. The Ripper's dead. Psychophage managed to eat the guys on this objective. And up here... the Pyrovores lost 1 guy, but did manage to fall back behind this terrain and regenerate a guy, while the Psychophage comes in, and I'm finally starting to really whittle down these Bulgrin. We only have 1 left. Psychophage is still unhurt. But yeah, I'm no longer in his deployment zone, which I have been pretty much since turn 2. But since he got 0 secondary, I get an 8 primary, but I also had terraformed the center, so I now get 10 primary. And I finished my defense stronghold, but I drew Secure No Man's Land, which I do score 5 points. I held the top, and I hold this expansion with the Psychophage managing to kill off the Death Core over here. And then I did draw Cull the Horde, which most of the time is a dead draw. Not this time, because Lord Solar, unfortunately, with this command squad, is a 13-man unit. So I do not score anything for Cull the Horde. So at the end of turn 4, Ricky has 24 primary to my 31. So I'm actually ahead by 7 on primary. And then in secondary, Ricky has 13 to my 18. So I'm actually ahead by 12 points now going into turn 5. So Ricky has top of turn, gets 10 points on primary as the Dorn decides. Basically, this Dorn moves up here to shoot this Psychophage, but actually this tank also gets the move order, comes up here and can see it. Hilariously, he drew Marked for Death, and I decided to mark this Spore Mine, this Ripper Swarm, and I think it was Biovore, Spore Mine, Ripper Swarm. Just because I felt like all of those were out of line of sight. Unfortunately, giving this Vanquisher move, it was able to go 13 up here, or actually 11 up here with a pivot. And with the pivot, drawing line of sight from, again, that giant gun. So he goes 11 here, and then the gun that's there rotates all the way up to here and can see down this line. He shoots a las cannon at the Spore Mine. He shoots the giant Vanquisher gun at the Psychophage, pops the Psychophage, pops the Spore Mine, gets his 5-point mark for death for killing a Spore Mine with a las cannon. But the other thing that he drew was tempting target, which of course I tempted him with my expansion objective, so he was not going to get a tempting target. So he CP redrew into sabotage, which, yeah, I mean, he could sabotage maybe here. I don't actually know if he was fully outside of his deployment zone. Looks like he didn't even go for sabotage. He had these guys come down here and kill off this Psychophage, while this Dorn moved up to shoot this Psychophage, but the Vanquisher actually killed it too fast and the Dorn had nothing to shoot. So he's like, oh, I guess it does nothing. And I told him, I'm like, why don't you just terraform this objective? So he did. He terraformed it and took it away from me to get him 10 primary that turn, having him finish at 34 primary. I get my home and the top for 8 primary. I do not have anything to terraform it, though, as I end up drawing recover assets, mark for death, and storm hostile. The only thing I have left is this Biovore and these 3 Pyrovores. So I just do a recover for 3 secondary points and manage to win the game 70-62, despite at the end of the game, I literally, again, I have a Biovore and 3 Pyrovores versus a Dorn, a Vanquisher, and Lord Solar with all his boys and a giant Tempester squad. But I was scoring secondaries the whole time, and Ricky was not. I mean, I guess I wasn't scoring that many. I scored 21 secondaries to Ricky's 18, and I scored 39 primary to Ricky's 34. So he was just so focused on killing me that he was not focused on scoring as much. And that is the only reason why I was able to get the win. He did manage to kill most of my stuff, but I managed to outscore him to pick up the win. Turns into an 11-9, and the rest of the team dominated. So the team very handily won round 4, making us 3-1, with our only loss being to Art of War. If you're this far in, I'm assuming you don't mind spoilers anymore. But so yeah, we are now 4-1. Our only loss was, once again, John Holbrook with his Tau. He kind of just flubbed and got a 3. But the rest of the team did great. And yeah, so now let's move on to game number 5. All right, so round 5 was definitely an interesting round because initially we were paired into Frontline Gaming. I forget what their team name is, but the Frontline Gaming guys, Reese and Frankie and all of them, which was awesome that they're actually playing again. But we were initially paired into them, and they came up and they're like, hey, we're just here to have fun. Like, we're not actually trying to win or anything. We've actually been letting our opponents pick pairings, and for some reason we're winning anyways. But we really want to play our A and B teams against each other in the final round. And if you guys are okay with that, we'd like to just swap opponents. And because we were paired into them, and they asked if we could swap opponents, which is kind of an odd request, but it turns out when you are Frontline Gaming and the judges are kind of yours for this event, the judges were okay with it, and they said as long as we're okay with it, that yeah, we can do it. And we decided, sure, why not? We'll let them have some fun. It's not like we're playing for top place or anything. So we swapped. So instead of playing the Frontline Gaming crew, we played against Smite Club, which is a bunch of guys from Arizona, and played against Hank and his Adeptus Mechanicus. So Hank actually runs some of the big tournaments down in Arizona. Go check them out. Sounds like they're some pretty fun events. I have not actually personally attended, but some of my teammates have. They had a good time down there. So definitely check them out if you get the opportunity. But Hank is bringing AdMech, and his list is basically saying, I wanted to borrow Timothy's AdMech list because he wasn't playing, and they figured they should have AdMech on their team, so he decided to bring him instead. That being said, he did tell me that he has absolutely fallen in love with the AdMech army and will be getting his own after this event. But he is playing a Halo Screed Battleclade led by Belisarius Call, of course. For those of you who have seen some of my more recent videos, you know that I do play AdMech myself. You can see my little AdMech planes sitting up there in the background. But so yeah, you got Belisarius Call, you got the Manipulus with Cognitive Reinforcement that gives you both Doctrines for 1 unit, then unit of Rangers, unit of Vanguard for your battle line, Dune Rider for them to go in with the Corpuscaria Electro Priests. So these are the guys that are in the Dune Rider and are joined by the Manipulus. So they will be in both Doctrines at all times. They get out of the Dune Rider, and in this detachment, basically, you're going to give them, for 1 CP, they're going to crit 5s. Their weapons already have sustained 2. The Manipulus gives them lethal, and then they just shoot. Call picks their oath target, and you suddenly have 30 plus, or you have 30 shots hitting on 2s, rerolling everything, crit 5s, lethal, sustain 2, AP 1 if you're in Protect or in Conqueror Doctrine, and rerolling all wounds if you shoot the same thing that the Dune Rider shot. So very powerful unit. That's the combo there. Then 2 units of Las Cannon Ballistari, 2 5-man Skystalker units that are basically just gargoyles, 2 10-man infiltrators, 2 10-man Ruststalkers. So very straightforward list. And here we go. So playing against Hank and his AdMech list, we are playing Scorched Earth with the circle in the middle deployment. We are once again playing on the open terrain layout where I imagine he's hoping, like, he noticed that I have no guns. He's hoping that he can just shoot me. But I just deploy everything on the line. And yeah, we're playing Scorched Earth. So in this one, I managed to go first. As you can see, Hank has deployed his infiltrators here and here. He's got his Electro Priests inside the Dune Rider here, Rust Stalkers behind this ruin, battle line sticking his home, Vanguard battle line here next to Call, giving him lone up, with Rust Stalkers ready to move forward and into position. And Las Cannons can either come forward and shoot, come out and shoot, or kind of stay KG'd back and fire down, tighter lanes. But I got first turn, and as I've done all tournament, I ain't afraid. Let's just shove. So everything moves forward as far as possible, basically. I did actually just go for this charge. This was like a 9-inch charge with this Haruspex. Unfortunately, he was not able to quite touch this objective with only an 8-inch move. So the Neurolictor is touching it. The Haruspex is just off. Went for the 9-inch charge, used my free strat reroll from the Hive Tyrant, failed it. That would have been huge, though. Like, Haruspex probably eats most of that squad. But I failed it, which is fine. I did draw Area Denial and Cull the Horde. Cull the Horde gets tossed for Recover Assets. So Area Denial, boom, 5 points. Recover Assets, I believe Psychophage, boom, and something in Home, boom. But otherwise, this Haruspex. Otherwise, everything else just moved forward. And I've got my Venom Thropes tucked kind of here, just giving stealth and cover to the Pyrovores in the center that are just ready for these Ruststalkers to basically come out, and I will just flame everything. So with AdMech being the squishy guys that they are for the most part, having these Pyrovores out in the front just really deters anything, or at least something is going to take a serious hit before he can throw everything at me. Hank's first turn, he ends up drawing Cleanse and Engage. And basically, this is the end of his turn. He did move, kind of advanced everything that was here down this bottom right flank. And these infiltrators contemplated charging this Psychophage, but they really did not want to get heroicked by this Haruspex. So they just toe-tapped the objective and did Cleanse and gave him an Engage in this corner. And then basically he oathed my Pyrovores on the center and came out with these Las Cannon chickens to shoot at them, but with stealth and cover. And I gave them the 4+ Feel No Pain because I did hold this objective. He literally only did 3 damage to me. because basically with the las cannons, they were hitting on 5s with full rerolls, which he then spent a CP to crit on 5s. So with his 6 shots hitting on 5s with full rerolls, he got 3 5+, which turned into 6 hits. And then I think that was 5 wounds with twin linked, maybe actually 6. However, they were only AP 3 because he did not have battle line nearby. And then I had cover, so I was actually saving on 5s. And I think I rolled decently hot, where I think only 2 went through, and he rolled kind of low on damage. I think he rolled like a 2 and a 3, which turned into 7 damage, of which I passed 4 of the 7 4-ups, and I only took 3 damage for this one Pyrovore just to take 3 damage and still be alive on 2. So I imagine that is not the experience that AdMech players have when they shoot a Oath target with crit 5s, but turns out Pyrovores are really tanky. I've been trying to say this forever, guys. They're really tanky, in this, especially at this detachment with Venom Thropes. But anyways, he did charge the Rust Stalkers in from behind the wall, so they had a +2 to charge from here. So I think it was like an 8-inch charge that turned into a 6 with the +2, and he does manage to make it into these Pyrovores, and he chops all of them up and piles in to the other Pyrovore unit, which does prevent them from shooting. Other than that, I think these las cannon chickens shot down and they killed 1 Tyrant Guard. To be fair, they were hitting on 4s with no rerolls, and yeah, I also had a 5-up save against those because of the cover. And yeah, I think only 1 went through and killed 1 guy, which I will promptly heal. And up here, the infiltrators went in, and I believe I actually went to heroically intervene here and failed. Again, this Haruspex really should be charging and eating these guys, and he's just failed both times, unfortunately. But so that is Hank's turn 1. He does get a 2-point engage and a 2-point cleanse. And then going into my turn 2, this is Scorched Earth. He has taken the center. He has taken this one because I'm not actually on the objective, and obviously I'm not on this one. So I only get 5 points for holding my home. But I draw Bring It Down and Behind Enemy Lines. So I need to kill a vehicle unit or kill a vehicle or monster unit and get into my opponent's deployment zone. And this is the end of my turn 2. So as you can see, I just kind of shoved everything forward still. The Psychophage and Haruspex down here went up after this flank, killed off all of the infiltrators. Swarmlord and friends moved up and wanted to charge over here, but actually with the Flamers and the other Psychophage, managed to kill off all of the battle line here. And then as far as this top flank, I actually got pretty tricky with it, where this Psychophage, I guess I gave up on him attacking these infiltrators because he clearly didn't want to. So instead, I had him come up over here and then charge into this one Skystalker, while this Psychophage actually moves forward and goes into these Skystalkers alongside this Neurolictor. So Neurolictor goes here, Psychophage goes here. Both of them go into these Skystalkers while this Haruspex comes around and up into the Skystalkers. Meanwhile, this Haruspex is going to be the one that's going to go after these infiltrators and manage to do so. This Haruspex kills off most of them. This is actually the end of Hank's turn after they've fallen back. But what I did that was tricksy was these 2 guys killed off the 5 Skystalkers, allowing the Haruspex to pile in and kill off a Chicken Walker. And yeah, then I get to this point, and obviously I've done a pretty big punch. Hank does have 5 more Skystalkers still in reserve, but with Spore Mine, or with Rippers and Spore Mines, you can see I've actually started to screen out my whole backfield from the Skystalkers, and I'm just still pushing forward. So there's this big wall where he can't come in here. And I did also, this Psychophage finishes off the last of the battle line here and piles into these las cannon chickens. And then I pop Shadow, hoping that if the chickens fail, they have to take Desperate Breakout. I know they re-roll it, but still making them roll dice, forcing options. I do not get anything for behind. Oh, I apologize. I was looking at the wrong secondaries. I had no prisoners and engage. So I definitely scored the max no prisoners because I killed all sorts of stuff. The fight's first Hive Tyrant came in and killed off all 10 of the Rust Stalkers here. And yeah. So killed off this unit, killed off the Sky Stalker unit, killed off the Ranger unit, killed off this Infiltrator unit. And that was my turn 2. And then I had a engage for 3 table quarters I was not able to get in his. And then Hank's turn, he's only holding his home. And then he draws Bring It Down and Behind Enemy Lines. But I pop Shadow in the Warp. And as you can see, Call fails. The chickens at the top in combat with the Haruspex fails. And these Infiltrators fail. I don't think anything else does. The only one that really matters is here and here. I think he loses like one guy falling back from the Haruspex here. I don't think Call actually ends up mattering. And then these guys kind of matter. But I think he falls back and with the reroll passes anyways. But he can't get behind because these guys don't count because they're battle shocked. And he can't because of the Biovore, the Rippers, and the Spore Mines. I'm actually screened out back here. So no behind, and his attacks into me. Oh, this picture is out of order. His attacks into me don't do a lot. He does kill the Haruspex down here with the las cannon chickens, and then I think these ones managed to kill off. Nope. I think they just wounded the Haruspex. The Electro Priests do get out and shoot into this Haruspex with everything but being only AP 1. They do not finish it off. I probably even used a 5-up Feel No Pain up here. And I think I lived on 5. I remember that I was degraded. So I was hitting him on 4s, and he actually lives pretty substantially. And he comes down here, kills off the Haruspex, and charges into the Psychophage, puts it down to 4 wounds. And yeah. As you can see, I'm already, I'm just keeping up the pressure. I am starting to run out of stuff, but very much so is Hank. Then we go into my turn 3, where I believe this is the end of my movement on turn 3. So the Psychophage is starting to chase down these guys. Haruspex comes up. I'm still have the Neurolictor on this objective. Haruspex is coming up to join and help finish off this combat. And my Hive Tyrant with my Pyrovores is moving up, as I have now drawn my own Bring It Down. So I need to kill a vehicle. This looks very tasty, and I have Overwhelming Force. This is the only thing he has that's on an objective. So I very much want to kill this vehicle. But I do score a 10 because I hold the center and my home. And yeah, then at the end of the turn, I did manage to, the Pyrovores killed off the battle line. I charged in and blew up the tank. And Swarmlord comes up to kill off these las cannon chickens up here. And the Psychophage actually still manages to live another round of combat with all of these guys. Kills like 2 of them. Psychophage up here kills off the 3 infiltrators. Haruspex does make the charge, but somehow these Electro Priests are still alive. For being T3 1 wound guys, they survived 2 Haruspexes for basically a total of 3 rounds of combat against Haruspexes. So good on them, I guess. But as you can see, everything else is really kind of starting to collapse. Hank actually does not even play out his turn 3 and just concedes, saying, wow, I guess I really didn't want this matchup, did I? And I was like, no, you kind of didn't. Essentially, I was first defender, and they gave me the choice between Admech and Eldar, both of which I'm very good into because I'm just very durable wall that pushes into you, that has just mass AP 1-for-1 damage, which is good into Eldar and Admech, it turns out. So I just don't think they like that's what they said. They knew that my list was bulky and that it healed. They did not know any of my damage profiles, and it turns out it's very good into AdMech and Eldar. But I got to show it into their AdMech, and yeah. So Hank conceded before playing his turn 3, giving me the massive 20-0, and yeah, giving us the win into Smite Club, making me finish 4-1 and Mastercrafted finish 4-1. I think that's a very good showing for our first truly out of state event as a team. Very happy to have participated with these guys and very happy with my Assimilation Swarm list. I love this playstyle. I love having just no guns and just being a wall of melee Tyranids. I think that is such a fun and fluffy way to play these guys. So if you guys enjoyed this, let me know down in the comments. Let me know what you guys want to see next. My next video is I just went to another tournament last weekend and I played Subterranean. So I'm about to make another tournament battle report reviewing that. And then we're going to go for another team tournament in Portland in February. And I'm thinking about Crusher Stampede. So maybe look forward to that. And I will talk to all of you guys next time on Into the Hive Mind. Thanks for watching.